the dim light of early morning, perhaps also in the dim light between peace and war, the King returns to London. A few hours later, His Majesty holds a Privy Council, while hour by hour the tension grows all over the world. But here at home, not the least impressive feature is the complete absence of excitement, as Britain keeps pace with world affairs. Just before lunch, Mr. Chamberlain returns from an audience with the King, and in the afternoon Parliament assembles to write a new page in its long history. For today, our democratic system of government, which in normal times is so often divided against itself, is to prove with what unity and speed it can work when the time comes. Within 2.5 hours, the Emergency Powers Bill is to pass through all its stages in Lords and Commons. Proof, if ever it were needed, that our tradition-bound system of free debate can still work as fast or faster than any dictator-controlled Council of Ministers. The House also listens to an important statement from Mr. Chamberlain in which he emphasizes the real issue on which we stand. We stand against the right of any nation to suppress by force the independence of any other. For if we were to withdraw now, it might only be a matter of time before aggressive demands backed up by threats of force were made upon us. So in truth, we stand also for our own freedom, and our dominions and France are with us. And in spite of America's distaste for war, President Roosevelt has shown that in spirit his people are with us too. And in the evening, all the world hears the broadcast by the Foreign Secretary.
The life of all nations depends in the last resort upon mutual respect for one another's rights and reasonable confidence that they can each live their life in their own way, provided that they do not interfere with their neighbour's right to do the same. Throughout their history, the British people have always felt bound to oppose attempts by one power to dominate Europe at the expense of others. And now that the possibility of conflict again exists, the government have taken steps to declare their attitude not only to the world, but in a special message to Herr Hitler. No doubt, therefore, can anywhere exist that we mean to fulfill the obligations which we have assumed. If German policy could only be directed to restoring European confidence by willingness to settle differences by negotiation, and was not based, to the extent that it seems to be, upon the plan of trying to settle differences by force, we should ask nothing better, as we have said more than once, than to work with Germany and to help to resolve her difficulties and our own and all the problems in the world that need solution. But if misunderstanding between Germany and Great Britain is to be removed, I repeat that there must be some certainty about the future of Europe, and that is why we feel obliged to resist attempts to alter the map of Europe by constant appeals to force. We have built up a society with values accepted not only in this country, but in many other parts of the world. If we stand idly by and see these values set at naught, the security of all those things on which life itself depends is undermined. I would earnestly hope that in face of all the consequences of a resort to force, and before any step is taken which cannot be retraced, reason may yet prevail.
Meanwhile in France, as Premier Daladier broadcasts a similar message to the nation, the army mobilizes against the danger that reason may not prevail. Cars, buses and trains are commandeered. In city, town and village, reservists are called up. For in France, every able-bodied man is a potential trained soldier. Outside the banks, queues form as French men and women offer to subscribe to the defense loan. And every open space in every city bristles with half-hidden guns. As stations are crowded with men moving to their defense units, France acts with the knowledge that Britain is at her side. And back here at home, there has never been a doubt that every British citizen would play his part. London prepares its defenses against attack from the air. At St. Bartholomew's Hospital, medical students build protection against the danger of high explosive. It is now the duty of every citizen to know what to do should an air raid come. Do you know the warning signals? To remind you, we repeat them but softly, to avoid alarming anyone who might hear them outside this theater. All clear. Have you got your gas masks for yourself and your children? Are you playing your part in civil defense? All over the country, the ARP service stands too. In the Underground Control Center in Hampstead, wardens test the organization for the immediate reporting of air raid damage. Here's how it would work. A report of damage would be received, would be passed to the warden in charge, who would immediately telephone instructions to the ambulance, anti-gas, first aid and rescue parties. And was there ever a doubt that when the time came, the men of Britain would again flock to the colours? In the parks of London and other cities, balloon barrage squadrons are standing by night and day. "10,000 steel throats are waiting to bark destruction at the invader from the sky. Britain stands firm. And does our determination already load the balance towards peace? Back to Britain comes our ambassador to Germany, Sir Neville Henderson, bringing a message from the man who must decide between war and peace. Sir Neville arrives in a plane placed at his disposal by the German government and reports immediately to the Prime Minister and His Majesty the King. As silent crowds watch him in Downing Street, the world still waits to know what message he brings. Men and women who desire peace above all wait in suspense.